Hello everyone. Today let us learn what are literary devices and how to identify them. Literary devices are also known as figures of speech. When they are used in a poem, they are known as poetic devices. And when they are used in a dialogue, they are called rhetorical devices. So let us start. Literary devices are the techniques, methods, tools to adorn or beautify the language, to say something more beautifully and more effectively. They are the methods of comparison, to contrast two things, to exaggerate or mock at something. They are used to arouse interest, excitement, and bring out emotions through a piece of literature. So let us start with the devices based on comparison. Simile is all about direct comparison between two unlike things. Unlike things means dissimilar things, two different things. And this comparison is made using the words like or as. It's very simple to identify simile. You have to find out whether there is comparison made between two things and the use of words like or as. For example, he is wise like an owl. Let's see more examples. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Here the poet is comparing himself to a cloud who is wandering lonely, like a fogged night on air. Here the fogged tongue of snake is compared to night, as they all are black, using the word like. Red as a rose is she. Here the bride is compared to a beautiful rose. Her face ashen like that of a corpse. Poetess Kamala Das is comparing her mother's face to that of a corpse dead body, worn pale as a late winter's moon. In the same poem, she is comparing her mother's face to late winter's moon because her face is pale, like a rootless weeds. Here, the slum children are compared to rootless weeds, unwanted plants. They are also unwanted. Slums as big as doom. Slums of the children is compared to doom, dark future, which is big as well as their slums are big. Metaphor is about indirect comparison between two unlike things, again, two different things. But here we do not use the words like or as, which we use in simile. You can see in the image, hard work or education is compared to a key which can unlock the door of success. So, door is compared to success and education is compared to a key without using the words like or as. Let's see the examples. All the world's a stage. In this line, poet William Shakespeare compares this world to a stage where all the human beings act as the performers. They do their roles. The field and the clouds are lovers. They act as lovers because they want to meet each other. By war's long winter stopped. Here the war is compared to winter because nothing grows during war as well as nothing grows in winter and people starve. Still ringed with ordeals. Here the ring of Aunt Jennifer is compared to misfortunes and sufferings during married life without using the words like or as. From the veils of morning, here the foggy morning is compared to veils. Their future is painted with a fog. Future of slum children is compared to fog, which is dim, which is not bright. Paper seeming boy, a slum boy who is very thin, just like a paper. So he is compared to paper, but no like or as is used in all these examples. That is why we find metaphor in all these lines. Personification is all about giving human characteristics to something that is not human. It can be anything, any article, any idea, or animal. It means it presents or describes some inanimate or non-living thing as living thing. The wind whistled throughout the day. Here wind is whistling, doing the action which only human beings can do. There we have personification. Let's see more examples. Monuments of princes shall outlive. Here monuments are shown to live or outlive, which only human beings can do. There we have personification. Melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. Here darkness is presented or described as a lady who is weeping. As we can say, darkness cannot weep. Weeping is a human quality, which only human beings can do. Tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Here daffodils are presented as young children who are tossing their heads and dancing. Map awarding the world its world. Here map is giving the award of world to the people of the world, showing that it is your world. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he. Here sun is presented as a living person. He pronoun is used for sun. Young trees sprinting backwards. Young trees are presented or described as young children who are running backwards. Perhaps the earth can teach us. Here, earth is given the human characteristics of teaching. In all these examples, we can see the personification. Next, we have the devices based on repetition. In repetition, we have the repetition of a word or phrase in a line, and it is done to highlight or stress upon some fact or the theme of the chapter or poem. Theme is highlighted through the repetition of any word or phrase. Let's see the examples. Somewhere ages and ages hence. In this line from the road not taken, the word ages is repeated to highlight that after so many years he will be telling his story. Day after day, day after day. This phrase is repeated to signify or to tell that after so many days also the things are same. Water, water everywhere. It is done, this repetition is done to show that there is abundance of water everywhere. Far, far from gusty waves. The word far is repeated to show that it is about a place which is very far. All I did was smile and smile and smile. This line from My Mother at 66, the poetess Kamala Das, is stressing upon the fact that it is very difficult for her to smile while looking at the face of her mother. Let's not speak in any language. Let's stop. Here the word let's is repeated to highlight that we all have to join hands to do these things. Without rush, without engines. The word without is highlighted, is repeated to show that we should not do any rush, we should not use any engines, any tools, any means in order to practice peace. Next we have refrain, and refrain is the repetition of a line or a set of lines in a poem at regular intervals in various stanzas or at the end of the poem. And it is also done to highlight the theme of the poem or central idea of any chapter. Let's see the examples of refrain. Men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. If you have read the poem The Brook, you must have noticed that these two lines are repeated 4 times in the poem, and they highlight the theme, which tells that man take birth and die, but brook is eternal. I will arise and go now. This line is also repeated to show the intensity of the poet who wants to go to Lake Isle of Innisfree. And miles to go before I sleep. This line is repeated to show that poet has got the commitments. Oh captain, my captain, Rise up and hear the bells. Here the poet is asking Abraham Lincoln, who is dead, to rise and see the celebration. Now we will count to 12. This line is repeated to highlight that we have to count 12 and keep quiet in order to maintain peace. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. This line is also repeated to show or to highlight that once the poet had a dilemma in his life. Next, we have devices based on sound. First of all, we have alliteration. Alliteration is about repetition of a consonant sound in a sentence or line. And this sound is repeated in the beginning of the words. Lisa loved to look at lizards in the aquarium. So here the letter L sound is repeated. Let's see the examples. Next night, the nightingale shook her head and twitched her tail. We can see the sounds of letter N, H, and T are repeated. And this repetition makes the line musical and beautiful. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through. Sound of letter F is repeated. Lone and level sands stretch far away. Repetition of letter L and S is done in this line. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. How beautiful and musical line is this? Because the repetition of sound B, F is done in this line. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. Here the repetition of sound TH and H is done. A flowery band to bind us. Repetition of letter B. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Repetition of sound S is done in this line. Next we have assonance. And in assonance, we have the repetition of a vowel sound or diphthong within the words in a line or sentence. Vowel, I hope everybody knows, A, E, I, O, U. These 5 vowels sound is repeated. There we have assonance as well as diphthong. Diphthong is a pair of 2 vowels like AE, AI, and so on. That cat had snack. Here we can see the repetition of A sound is done, which is known as assonance. We see the examples and that has made all the difference. In this line, repetition of A sound is done, which is a vowel, and that is why we have assonance. The ship was cheered and the harbor cleared. In this, we have the repetition of diphthong, which is a pair of 2 vowel. In first, we have EE, second we have EA. This is a diphthong which makes a completely different sound. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. Famous line from My Fair Lady. Here also we have diphthong and the sound of AI is repeated. You shall shine more bright. Sound of I is repeated. It will never pass into nothingness, but still will keep. Again the sound of I is repeated. From an antique land. Here the sound of vowel A is repeated. Next we have onomatopoeia, and it is about formation of a word from the sound of something, some bird or animal that it represents. It means the sound of some bird or animal or something. It is described by using the same sound word. Sound words are used to create or to give real effect to that description. Let's see the examples. It cracked and growled and roared and howled. Here, different sound words are used to describe the sounds which are made by ice when it is cracking. In the poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the ice cracked and made various sounds. To describe those sounds, different sound words are used to give a real effect. Threw it at the water trough with a clatter. Clatter is the sound when we throw something in water. And the same sound word is used to give a real effect. As I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof, patter is the sound of raindrops falling upon the roof. Every tinkle on the shingle. Tingle is again a sound word, musical sound word, and it is made by the raindrops. It croaked on and on and on. This unpleasant voice is made by frog when it is singing. Coo-ah, coo-ash, coo-ash. Again, this unpleasant sound is made by frog, and beautiful words are used to describe that sound. Next, we have devices based on perception. Perception means understanding things using your senses. First of all, we have imagery. And imagery is about creating a word picture through vivid or live description. Something is described so lively, so beautifully, so vividly that we can imagine that thing in our mind. And it appeals to the five senses, senses of sight, hearing, touch, taste, etc. Let's see the examples. And trailed his yellow-brown slackness soft-bellied down. Here, the body of snake is described so beautifully using the words yellow, brown, slack, soft belly. And it gives a beautiful picture in our mind. We can actually visualize the snake. An evening full of linnets' wings. The evening is made beautiful with the colorful wings of linnet. I touch gently at the windows with my soft fingers. We can actually visualize and see that rain is something which is touching the windows. As a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Without any movement, the ship, and without any movement, the ocean is looking like a painting. Trees old and young. Beautiful trees, and they make a beautiful scene. Endless fountain of immortal drink. Nature is described to be endless fountain, which gives peace and beauty to human beings. All these lines give a beautiful image or picture in our mind through vivid description. Next, we have hyperbole. It is about exaggeration of an expression or description. Something is exaggerated in order to create a moment of awe and excitement. The reader is excited, surprised, or happy to see abundance of something or beauty of something. Let's see the examples. 10,000 saw I at a glance. Here the abundance of daffodils is shown through the words 10,000. Nor breath nor motion, as idle as painted ship upon a painted ocean. Ocean is something which is in movement continuously. But here there is no movement, and which is exaggerated through the words painted ocean, which is shown as a painting. Danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he. Caesar is calling himself more dangerous than danger itself, which is a hyperbole. The things that threatened me never looked but on my back. Even the threatening things don't have courage to look at his face. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they are vanished. The dangerous and frightful things are also frightened of Caesar, which is a very beautiful exaggeration or hyperbole. Oxymoron is all about using two opposite words or phrases to present or explain one idea. Two opposite words presenting or describing one idea. Orderly chaos, happy accidents. Accidents are not happy, but some accident which bring out happiness may be termed as happy accidents. So basically they are two opposite words, but they convey one thing. Let's see the examples. With a joy both sweet and bitter. Here, feeling or experience. A frog is described, which is a mixture of sweetness as well as bitterness. He is happy as well as jealous. Parting is such a sweet sorrow. Here, the feelings of Romeo and Juliet is described, which is full of sadness as well as they have a hope that they will be meeting tomorrow. When I cry, the hills laugh. These two words, cry and laugh, bring out one feeling that the rain is crying or falling and making all the nature happy. We have imagined for the mighty dead. Here, the dead people, the ancestors, who are dead but they are mighty because they have done something great. Did send a dismal sheen. Dismal is disappointing and sheen is shine, brightness. But the brightness is disappointing because there is ice everywhere, which creates a disappointing scene. I hope you have understood how to find out literary devices from your books as well as during your exams. Thank you. Keep watching my channel. I will be soon with you with another video on more poetic devices. Keep watching my channel. All the best.